You're listening to Radio 107.6 FM, broadcasting live and direct from the Bobber's Moor Community Centre. So let's get started with the Ghufran.
Good to see you. It's a long time. I was a bit bunged up last week. I think it was bank holiday weekend flu, so I was just in bed and groggy, and you didn't want to be with me in the studio.
Well, we asked everyone to make the wars for you.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think that worked in my favour.
Why did it work in your favour? Because
We've got you back in here.
Oh, yes, good. Oh, of course, yes. Power of the wise, isn't it?
Exactly.
So there's no show last week?
Unfortunately not.
Ah, you went home early then?
Well, I kind of finished at the same time, but there was no tech clinic, no.
Okay, so we've got quite a few questions to cover, so without further ado.
We got quite a bit of questions. Yes, that's correct. Let me just get everything adjusted because everything's a bit out of order today. Okay, yes, today's show we're going to be covering off last week's questions and this week's questions. So definitely loads to go through. And also we've got the Samsung Galaxy S4 review as well later on in the show.
The S4, the one we've been waiting for.
No problem.
Is it really what it's cut out to be? All will be revealed.
All will be revealed, yes. I've got loads.
Or is it just another piece of plastic? Can it beat the iPhone or the HTC One?
Come on.
What is the build quality like? Questions to be answered shortly.
Don't be that harsh.
Drum roll, please.
Someone's overexcited. Someone's overexcited, getting too excited with HTC. Let's get started. Yes. I have a question. Basically, I have the S3, and since I have updated the software, I cannot use Flash on the normal internet app. What do I have to do to get the Flash back?
Interesting one, 'cause as of August the 15th last year,
Yes.
the Adobe Flash Player app was not available in the Google App Store.
Okay.
So you cannot get the Adobe Flash Player from there, because the focus now is a lot of vendors are moving more towards HTML5. Apple started this whole issue off many years ago. Apple iOS doesn't support Flash. And it looks like a lot of the other vendors are following that trend they set. So what you'll find is if your device doesn't have Adobe Flash Player installed when you take it out of the box, and that vendor officially doesn't support it. But there's a way of installing it manually. There are some steps you'll need to do to install it manually. What we'll do is on the Facebook we'll put a link to these steps. There's quite a few steps where basically you've got to on your handset allow you to install software from unknown sources.
Yeah.
Certainly on Android 2.2, 2.3 and 3 above, it's under settings.
Okay.
In the security tab. And then you can download the Flash for Android application downloader. Comes directly from Adobe's website. And then you'll install that manually through there. And you'll have to enable some plugins in your browser. And then there's a few checks you'll have to do to make sure it is up and running. So just a few, it's a workaround, but if there are sites which you really, really need to use Flash on, then do it manually. But maybe that site has now been updated to be able to use HTML5. But Flash is not, I've never been a real fan of Flash, to be honest, and Flash is not SEO friendly. A lot of websites are moving away from Flash. So, who's recording?
We have a caller.
We have a caller.
Yeah.
Okay, so manual steps of installing Flash are available. We'll put them on the Facebook and YouTube link after the show, inshallah. Hello, assalamu alaikum, caller.
Salam. How are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah. How are you, caller? What's your name?
My name is Wasim, calling from North India.
Assalamu alaikum, Wasim. How are you doing?
Salam, alhamdulillah. I've got a question.
Sure, go for it.
This is the tech department, yeah?
This is the tech clinic, yes.
Okay. My question to you is, I've just gone and got the new Samsung S4, Galaxy S4.
Okay.
And, you know, when you read the emails on your Samsung Galaxy S4, you mark them as, well, they come up as red.
Okay.
Okay. And when you go onto your laptop or your desktop, when you go into your email page, it's marked up on there as unread.
Okay.
How do I get about this? Because prior to my Samsung, I used to be an Apple customer. And on them, they're total different kettle of fish. Whereas if you read the email on your iPhone and you see it on your desktop, it's automatically updated to say it's red.
Okay,
So
sure.
on the Samsung, it doesn't do that.
Okay,
I've had a word with Samsung and I've had a word with some other people, but they've told me it can't be done.
Okay, so what you can do, there's a number of settings you can look at. Basically, when you configure these devices for downloading emails, there's two settings you can use. One is called POP, and one is called IMAP. So with the actual POP setting, that actually downloads a copy of the mail to your device. So with that scenario, you'll have a case where when you read that email on one device, you may get to a situation where you can't read it on other devices because when you configure the email account, there's a setting that says remove from server when you've downloaded it. The other option is something called IMAP, IMAP, which means the email is on the server. So if you configure all your devices, your laptop, your PC, and your phone to use IMAP, when you read the email from your device that's logging via IMAP, then that email will be shown as read on all the devices. So go in the account setting and see how you've configured the email. Okay.
Is there not an app that I could get that I could download to my phone? Have I got to go through the settings and see if I can locate it that way?
It's really settings. It's actually a property of the phone. The actual email settings will be on there. The way you configure the account now. How did you configure the account?
To be honest, the account was configured itself.
Yeah, sure. So you see, there are some wizards which will go through and they'll use whichever settings is found.
I spoke to Samsung as well, and the colleague at Samsung, she did say to me that she's got an S4 herself, but she can go into a setting and sort that out. But on my phone, I can't get that setting.
Okay, so
it's missing an item on my settings for me to click yes to have that added to my setting on my phone, but it won't allow me to do that.
Yeah, sure. So we've got an S4 here now. So under your incoming settings, you'll see IMAP server or POP server.
Yeah.
So that's the place to look. And maybe if you try creating a new email setting,
right,
it might give you the actual setting there. We'll have a play as well when we after the show. But I know it's something that not many people have come across, but it's the first thing I've experienced because, to be honest, I'm missing my Apple product. But then again, I wanted a Samsung S4. I've got the S4 now, and I like it to bits because it's a lot faster. It's a lot lightweight phone as well, but I really do like the S4. But then having an iPhone for 2 years, and I've loved that as well to bits because it's easy to use. But I thought I'd go for another challenge, and it would be the S4. So this is the hurdle I want to come across. But apart from that, the S4 is a fantastic phone. But this is the only hurdle I want to get over, and I'm hoping that I can get over it. And because being one of the best phones in the world, I'm sure they would have seen this problem and would have rectified it. But I don't think they've come across it yet. But maybe later on they may come across it. But I'll do what you've said. Yeah. So
hopefully that does sort the trick out.
So just trying it now. So when you do IMAP, there's no option for that at all. But if you when you set up email, go to manual setup, and then choose POP3 account.
Okay.
And in there, the only option that's available, it says when you check the mail, it will delete it from your mail server, which you don't want to do.
No.
And the other option is it keeps it on the mail server. Try that. Keep it on the mail server, and when you download it, on your PC, it's going to download it again, so you'll have 2 copies of that mail.
Right.
But you want it to show red on the PC when you've read it on the email.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I want. I don't want it deleted. I just want it to show me it's red. It's just that Apple had it, but unfortunately I can't get it done on the Samsung. So
I'll turn to bro, is to instead of using the email app on the phone, just use the web interface. Your iSpeed's probably got some kind of web interface.
Yeah, that's what I'm having to do at the moment in time. But I want to see if there's any other way around it to sort this little issue I've got. But that's great advice.
Sure. So we'll check the forums as well. We'll have a look at this, and inshallah, if you come up with a way, we'll let you know.
Am I the first person to come across this?
Exactly, brother. You should receive a prize. We need to get you into the studio, give you a big hug. Brother Wasim called us. Beautiful.
I'm so surprised that I'm the first person to see a problem like this, which is quite what do you call it, a popular thing to do. But then I'm sure Samsung and Apple would have notified us, because I know they've been trying each other in the past, but they've still not got it right. But hopefully, inshallah, they will get it right. And
sure. Well spotted, though. Well spotted.
Yeah. All right, no problem, brother. Thank you.
Thanks for your call, brother. Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. There you go, real life caller, real life issue. So thanks, caller. We will no doubt investigate that further, because it is an annoying feature when you read one email and it appears as unread on the other devices.
Can I just say that was awesome?
Was it? You happy?
That we actually tried to resolve something online, on air.
Yeah, so we
It's
it's not the brother's problem. It's our problem.
Yes, it is definitely our
inshallah,
problem. We're going to look into it.
Inshallah.
We'll look into it further and we'll try and find a solution for that.
Mm-hmm.
So keep tuned.
Inshallah.
Keep tuned, brother Wasim. Listen to us and keep listening to us every week. And next week we'll be on from 8:30 till 9, inshallah. So going back to the questions that we've got in the list, and people are welcome to call in if they have any questions to test us on air live. You're more than welcome to. Not even just testing us, just have genuine questions and see what we can do. Mm-hmm. Moving on, and the second question that we have, does Google have anything similar to iCloud? And if so, what do they offer? I.e. storage space, sort of backups allowed, free and paid options?
Yes, indeed. Google has something called Google Drive, where you can sign up free of charge, and that allows you to upload files, backup files, and there are some sync services, and you can do file sharing and even collaborative editing, where you can upload a document, could be a Word document or a spreadsheet, and the colleagues that you've shared that file with can modify the file as well. Mm-hmm. So Google will give you 5 gigabytes of storage on the Google Drive, which is very good. You can pay for additional storage, and this is really cool. If you purchase additional storage for £2.50, that you will get 25 gigabytes of storage automatically. Okay,
£2.50.
Yeah, that's £2.50 a month, and that actually works out to be. Let's just go to my XE currency app, which is
it is $250. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So $250, and this is an app everyone must have on their phone. Called XE currency. $250 is £1.62 per month.
So it's £1.62
for 25 gigabytes of storage. Now, if you're taking photos in high res, or you're doing lots of video editing, and you want to have a backup in the cloud, you can get up to 100 gigabytes of storage for $499. Mm-hmm. Up to 400 gigabytes, you can even get up to 16 terabytes of data. So for commercial requirements, you've got a lot of storage there. Okay.
Super duper.
At your disposal. So Google Drive, it's called. Most of you have got Google accounts. I think everyone I know has got a Google account. If you don't have one, you can create one easily, and you can get free 5 gigabytes of storage straight away. So that's really cool. So if you go to if you've got a SkyDrive account with Microsoft, you think you get 7 gigabytes. If you open a Dropbox, you'll get 2 gigabytes. So you can end up getting 14, 15 gigabytes storage free.
Yeah.
So not bad at all.
Not bad. Right, moving on towards our next question, and I have an S4. I do not want to download other apps such as Boat Browser and Firefox. So I would like to use the normal internet app that comes on the phone and view Flash videos as normal. Is this possible, and how do I do it?
Yep. So officially, Galaxy S4 does not support Flash. Officially, okay. So for you to be able to display Flash content, you've got to use this workaround and install the plugin manually from your website. Very much the issue with the S3. It comes down to the version of Android that's being used and the direction these vendors are heading in. So you cannot use the normal internet app. You'd have to use this workaround and install the plugin manually. All right. Not for the faint-hearted. It's not too difficult, but again, it's a choice you make.
Yeah, pretty much doing it at your own risk, as we would advise. Okay, next question. What are the main differences between the Galaxy Note 8-inch tablet and the iPad mini?
Okay, different platforms. Certainly, one is an Apple device, the iPad mini, and the other is an Android device running Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean. So there are some differences. Certainly in price, the iPad Mini starts at $330, goes up right through to $530, about £400-500. The Galaxy is a lot cheaper. The processor on the Apple, it's an A5 dual core. On the Galaxy, it's a A9 quad core. So the specs on paper of the Android is a lot faster. More memory on the Android, 2 gigabytes of RAM, a whopping 2 GB of RAM, whereas on the iPad Mini, only 512 megabyte. The screen size, pretty much the same. There's a 0.1 of an inch. The iPad is 7.9 inches, and the Galaxy is 8 inches. Galaxy also has a higher resolution, 1280 by 800, whereas the iPad has a 1024. Having used an iPad, you can't tell that it's a 1024 screen because of the actual build quality of that screen is quite tremendous as well. It's not Retina like the iPad 2, but it's still pretty good. Weight is again similar. I mean, they've got similar specs. One's a kind of an Apple device, the other's Android. The megapixel camera is pretty similar, the front and the back. They've both got Bluetooth. Storage is similar. Yeah. The big difference I think people will feel is there's no SD slot for external storage on the iPad. There's one on the Android device on the Galaxy. Yeah. So it's similar device, to be honest. The main difference is the operating system. One's iOS and the other is the Android.
Okay. Right. Let's move on towards the next question we have here. How do I get the most out of my Samsung Galaxy Note 2?
Samsung Galaxy Note 2. How do you get the most? Well, there's a couple of following on questions which we'll go to as well. It's like looking after any expensive device. Make sure you get it insured. Or make sure you have a cover. Always use a screen protector. I should use my own advice because I don't use screen protectors and I don't like to use covers. But always have a cover because if you drop it, you're going to be in a bit of bother. And the cover that you're going to choose is worthwhile spending a bit of money on a decent cover. Make sure the cover will protect the phone. If you drop the screen first. So the cover should actually rise above the actual handset. Mm-hmm. So there's a few more things about the Galaxy to keep your RAM memory low. How can you do that? Try and clear the cache and temporary files of the apps that you've installed. Worthwhile taking a backup before you do actually remove apps and start clearing caches and wiping caches. In your settings, you have on the device, tap on the app and see how much memory it's using, and you can remove the cache there.
We've also got what are the must-have apps for the
it's quite
Galaxy
a few.
Note 2?
For the 2, there's a really cool app. There's something I've got a list of 10 apps which I'm going to whiz through. Again, we'll put these on the Facebook and the YouTube as well. Right. Number 1, something called Dripper. Dripper, it's a real-time manual which shows you how to get the best from your phone. It's got all the latest news and updates, hot apps specifically for the Note 2. Yeah. Straight from your desktop to your mobile device. Okay. There's something called Draw Something for free. Again, with the S Pen functionality, you can practice your drawing skills on that, and you can play that game with your Facebook friends and Twitter friends. That's quite cool. It was fun. Skype, of course, everyone must have Skype nowadays. Very good for instant messaging and voice over IP. WhatsApp. I mean, everyone I know with the smartphone has WhatsApp nowadays. So WhatsApp's really cool because it links with your phone. And again, free messaging, you can share your location, you can have group chats, really useful way of keeping in touch with your friends all over the world. Just need to have a 3G connection or a Wi-Fi connection. There is something called Catch, which is a useful tool if you're working in an environment where you want to start to share space with other people, text, voice and things via your S Pen, so you can share media that way. And we got one here, a really good photo editor called Pixay Pro. Lots of things you can do to your photos. You can make your photos into sketches, take pieces from another picture, load them into another picture, add balloons, apply lots of effects to your pictures. Very handy app for touching up those photos that you take. If you're into games, or you spend a lot of time traveling in a train or a tube or whatever, then there's something called Dead Trigger. If you like killing zombies, that's quite useful. Anything on a big 5.5-inch screen. Lots of 3D characters, stunning graphics there, so quite a cool way of passing time if you're traveling. And another useful feature, something called AirDroid, which allows you to manage your device from your favorite browser, so you can take remote control of your device from your your PC or your Mac.
So without a cable,
yeah, I find that really useful.
Device.
Can't do that on the Apple. Okay, that's one thing I really missed on the Apple device.
Can you not do that?
No, so you could use everything on your phone
Yeah.
from your PC. It's so useful. We can make phone calls and install apps, adjust your home screen, etc.
What you mean with the iPhone or with AirDroid?
AirDroid.
Oh, AirDroid.
AirDroid, yeah. So, in fact, that last one, number 10 AirDroid, that should be the number one app that you should get. It's really cool.
I've tried it. It's pretty neat.
It is.
You kind of get bored of it easily though, but it's more of a person who's at office, maybe.
If you're spend a lot of time on your desk,
Yeah.
you don't want to be seen fumbling your phone. Put your phone in your pocket, and you could just do everything from your PC. So that's AirDroid, very useful.
Apps to get the best out of the S Pen.
We mentioned that recommended accessories.
Yeah. Recommended accessories.
Yeah, a couple that stick out. I saw this really cool stand case, which is like a very hardware and rubberized case for the body of your phone, and also acts as a kickstand, so you can prop it on your desk. That's nice, you need to touch. And there's a really useful USB cradle, which is not produced by Samsung, because Samsung have a cradle that costs about £80, very expensive. There's a Kidigi cradle, which is doing a similar thing. You put the phone on the cradle, and it has a USB input, of course, and it also has a HDMI out, so you can plug the cradle into your TV. Right. And that's only £25 for mobile phone. It charges your Note 2 on a dock, and can also output the picture to HDTV.
Not bad.
The Kidigi, Kidigi USB cradle with HDMI out, a very good alternative to the very expensive Samsung one.
Not bad. Next question. I have a Samsung Galaxy S. How can I improve my internal memory?
Yes. So again, we had a similar question earlier. Remove any apps you're not using. Have a look in the task manager for items which are using a lot of memory. Now, specifically for the Samsung Galaxy Ace, it is an aging handset. The memory on there was quite limited. So what you can do with the Galaxy Ace is, and again, got to be careful with this, make sure you take a backup of your phone. You can stick in your memory card, and you can make the memory card act as storage for the phone.
Right.
So there's a tool called the Mini Tool Partition Wizard software, which you can download. You install that app, stick in your micro SD card in the device, and then you run through a few steps. That creates a new partition on that SD card. Ooh. And then when you're using the apps, those apps will use the memory or on the SD card for the apps.
That's very nice.
So you're extending the storage available.
There's no need to root the phone or anything.
Correct. It's just installing an app that's using your external device as memory.
Very nice.
So again, we shall put these on the Facebook and the YouTube.
Yes,
some steps there.
You will indeed.
Yes, I will indeed, inshallah.
I
will. Indeed.
Okay. Next question. Which mobile phone should we buy from an ethical perspective?
That was a really interesting question. Maybe think and do some research on this. So, one ethical consumer. There's in fact a body out there who kind of look at ethical ways of spending money. I'm sure brother Ash is really into this. So, ethical consumer says buying secondhand will always be an environmentally preferable choice. Okay.
Right.
However, there's also an eco ranking scheme which ranks headsets based on their environmental impact, okay, based on the manufacturing, the packaging, waste, and so on. So O2 have got this eco ranking scheme, and according to O2, the Sony Ericsson's ELM handset, ELM, was the greenest under O2's rankings.
Never heard of it.
Okay, if you want to be green, so that a lot of the green things are the actual the price you pay is it's right. Probably not going to be mainstream.
Okay.
So their ranking scheme, it's on O2's website. The Sony Ericsson ELM is the greenest, and that's based on the way it's been manufactured, the packaging and the waste, etc. So you'll see all the criteria they use. However, that's for the handset. Mm-hmm. The other thing that you might want to look at is the operator. So there's so many mobile phone operators there. You've got the usual suspects. Then you've also got the People's Operator, which started a while ago. And what these guys are doing is they're offering a quarter of their profits to good causes.
Okay.
And what is their idea is to the way they've been founded is based on as a social enterprise.
Yeah.
And they're going to be supporting causes to generate support direct to local communities because they feel that the local communities is of paramount importance. So that's why they're giving a quarter of their profits to the local community-based projects. And that is the People's Operator.
The People's Operator.
An interesting mobile network provider.
Very interesting. So that must have taken us into a totally different direction there with the ethical perspective. Okay, next question. BlackBerry Q10, any better than the previous BlackBerry handsets? Question.
If you're a BlackBerry fan, I think the BlackBerry Q10 is really it's the BlackBerry of BlackBerry users, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It retains that keyboard that the BB owners have known to love. So it's the same tried and tested route. And so rather than having a completely touchscreen device like Apple and Samsung have moved on to, BlackBerry stick to the keyboard. It's really an evolution of the distinct BlackBerry QWERTY devices. So if you've been used to BlackBerry, then you're going to love this device. Okay, and the focus is really on that particular keyboard. And the reason you'd buy that smartphone is because of that whole BlackBerry keyboard experience.
Yeah,
it's a bit fatter than some of the handsets today, but again, that's what all BlackBerry's all about, that experience of that physical keyboard. So if you love the BlackBerry Bold, then you're going to love the Q10. Okay, not many apps. I suppose you don't buy a BlackBerry for the apps, you buy it for that experience, especially for business users who are going to be using the keyboard a lot. So so answer, yes, BlackBerry Q10 is better, in our opinion, than previous BlackBerry handsets.
Yeah, it's running on a whole new OS, a nice little handset, like you said, and it's quite powerful as well. One quality one, which if you're going to carry on with the keyboard and if BlackBerry is your thing, then that's the route you should take, and good luck to you.
Yes.
Let's move on towards the next question. How do I check what is the maximum RAM my desktop computer can take? Okay,
so when you're looking at maximum RAM, it's all about the motherboard. Okay, so if you know the model number of the motherboard, then you can look at the specs on the manufacturer's website, and that will tell you the maximum capacity and whether or not the RAM is compatible. The other way is to go to a website called Crucial.com. And what Crucial.com do is they're a very popular supply of memory, and on there you can click Scan My System, and what that will do, it will scan your system and it will tell you how many spare memory slots you have, and also the manufacturer of your motherboard, your PC. It pulls all the information from your machine and it will tell you which memory is compatible and how much memory you can have in the machine based on the manufacturer's information that it pulls. And then once you get that information, you can buy the memory from that website. So, and the prices on Crucial, pretty much, I think the best out there. I've always bought memory from Crucial. I'm not an agent of Crucial, but you find it, shop around for prices. But there is an app there which they'll scan your system and tell you exactly which type of memory you want, and you can take that information and buy memory from wherever you want. It's a very useful way of scanning the system.
I think most engineers, most techies, or most people who deal with hardware would agree that's the place they normally look at anyway. So
yeah, sure.
We're not just advertising them just for the sake of it. It's a really handy website.
Yeah, as an example, when I recently bought an iMac, I wanted to increase the memory. Yeah. So the actual price of getting memory from Apple when I was ordering the machine was a lot higher than me going to Crucial and buying the memory from there. That's exactly what I did. Got the minimum RAM from the Apple store. Yeah. And then went to Crucial, got some RAM from there, and put that in the machine, and then sold the RAM that came with the machine. So quids in. An ethical process, I think.
A very ethical process.
No waste. We don't like waste. Okay.
No, we don't.
Yes.
Let's move on towards the next set of questions. I have the Sony Xperia Z. Water went inside from the rain, and the speaker was terrible for the next 15 minutes or so. Is this supposed to be normal? You've had the Xperia Z.
Yeah, sure. So this is it is supposed to be normal. That's exactly what happens. The speakers need to dry out. Okay. If you read the manual, it will say after coming into contact with water, the speaker is most likely going to need time to dry out. And it can take from several hours to days, depending on the conditions. Now remember, that phone is not waterproof. It's water resistant. I actually dipped it into my sink full of water.
Right.
But yeah, you shouldn't really do that. So don't try and push the boundaries of the design. Otherwise, you might ruin your phone. But this questioner said it was terrible for the next 15 minutes or so, which implies it's okay now. Now, if it happens again, then don't use the speakers, which means you don't use the phone, because that can affect the drying process. Okay, so that is normal behavior.
Okie dokie. Next question. My desktop unit beeps at me 3 times on boot and then turns itself off. What does this mean, and would I have to buy a new computer?
Okay, right. So in this case, what the person needs to do is, to understand why it beeps, there's a really good website called computerhope.com. So if you go to computerhope.com/beep, BWP.htm, and it'll tell you everything about what happens when the computer boots up and some of the BIOS checks it does. And I think we had a question a few weeks ago about this power on self-test and what that BIOS is.
Yeah.
Now, if your motherboard is beeping, then a number of things could be the cause of that. It could be you've got some problem with a hardware device. It could be a system failure. This most likely indicates, if you have 3 short beeps as it starts, it could be a problem with memory. So if you've actually tried to install memory in the computer and then you've started getting these beeps, try removing the memory and starting again.
Okay.
If you haven't installed any memory, then it could be that you've installed some new device, could be a new hard drive, could be a USB drive, or something's changed on the configuration that's causing it to beep. If nothing's changed, then maybe it's a system failure, unfortunately. Okay, so it'd be nice to see what that particular problem is. So the person can try that out. Maybe if they have changed RAM, then they can let us know. So one thing they can try is go into the BIOS. So as they turn the machine on, it's normally a keystroke, F8 or F12. It will tell you at the bottom.
Yeah.
Press F key to enter setup, and then you should be able to see the devices. You should be able to see the memory installed and the hard disk installed.
Yep.
If you don't see a hard disk, then your controller might have gone, or your disk might have gone. I just hope you have backups.
Exactly.
But it might just be memory. If you've been tinkering memory, or maybe the memory just in the slot's gone a bit loose.
It can be motherboard as well, right?
Could be the motherboard, yeah. Could be the motherboard. It could.
Sometimes it can depend on how many beeps you get in or how long the beeps are, how short they are.
It depends on the beeps, exactly. So this website, computerhope.com, it goes through the number of beeps, whether they're short beeps, long beeps, continuous beeps, and how many beeps you have.
What exactly that could mean.
Amazing, isn't it? That the type of beep you have implies a type of problem.
It's pretty cool.
Imagine walking into a doctor's surgery and saying beep, 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 beep. Oh, you've got a cold.
If we were computers.
Form of diagnosis, yes.
If we were computers, which we're not. Next question. How do I do a factory reset on my Lumia?
Okay, factory reset on your Lumia. So
it's quite generic, though.
Yeah, so let's see why would you want to do that? Maybe if your phone is not responding or it gets stuck showing the Nokia logo.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then try pressing and holding both the volume down and power keys for 15 seconds.
Okay.
That should get your phone to restart. Okay. That's not a reset, it's just a restart. If you want to do a reset and you're actually in the phone and the phone's running, you can go to the About menu. Mm-hmm. So on the start screen, swipe left, choose settings, About, and then reset your phone.
Yeah.
Be careful with that, you will lose everything. It will be as though you've just brought a brand new phone. It will come out of the box. Okay, so make sure you've got a backup of all your photos, data, etc. You will lose everything if you do a reset.
On the handset.
So that's if you're in the phone. If you're not in the phone, then there are some tricks you can do depending on which Windows version you're running. If you're running Windows 7 or Windows 8 on the Nokia, make sure the charger is disconnected, switch to power off, and then press and hold the volume down and connect the charger.
Volume down and connect the charger.
And if that process works, you'll see an exclamation mark on the screen, and then you're going to input the following: volume up, volume down, power, volume down. You'll press those buttons: volume up, volume down, power, and volume down. Then the phone will reset. Okay, it might take several minutes for it to reset. Okay. If you're running Windows 7, make sure the charger is not plugged in.
Yeah.
Turn the power off, and then press and hold the volume down and camera keys, and then press and hold the power key. And when the phone vibrates, release the power key, but continue holding the volume down and camera keys until the phone reboots. Okay, so those steps we'll put on the Facebook as well. Right?
Okie dokie.
Okay.
Okay, next question that we have here. I got my S4 last week. Are there any really good accessories available for it on the market that you would recommend?
There are some really good ones. If you're into fitness, there's something called the S-Band. It's like a wrist band you can wear. And that will, it's quite stylish actually. And with the software on the phone, it will track how many calories you've burnt, how many steps you made, how much distance you've travelled, and your sleep quality apparently. And it stores the stats in the Health 2 app on the smartphone. There's also one really cool. It's an S-View cover.
Yeah.
An S-View cover. You can see it's a cover, but with the cutout like a window, and you can see all the information through there.
So when we go through the
So there's a wireless charging cover. The wireless charging. That's okay. And there's a flip cover, a thinner cover.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm stealing your thunder a bit there. Yeah, we're almost done. A few more to go.
Okay, move on to the next question. We are going to cover that in more detail if we get through to it. What is a electrically erasable programmable read-only memory?
Okay, EEPROM. EEPROM, it's a programmable memory that can be erased and reprogrammed using an electrical charge. Okay, so unlike most memory in a computer, when you turn the computer off, all the applications stop running, and that's called volatile memory, and your data is not remembered when you turn the machine back on. Whereas EEPROM, it actually remembers the data. Okay, you're actually programming and storing the charge on that particular on that circuit, that chip. So that's used in the BIOS. When you save your BIOS settings, it's actually stored inside EEPROM.
Yeah.
Okay. The benefit is you don't have to open the computer or remove any chips every time you want to reprogram that particular chip. You can just do it through software. Sweet indeed.
And the final question that
No,
we
no,
have here.
not the final.
Final
the
two, sorry,
the penultimate,
my bad.
yes.
There's one more, isn't there? Duh.
There was a late entry as well.
Yes, it was very late entry that we've still managed to squeeze it in. I am looking for replacing my wired keyboard and mouse with a wireless version. What would you recommend?
I would recommend one of two options. Go to logitech.com. They do a fantastic range of keyboard and mice, really good build quality. I've used them a lot in the past. Problem with it, you can get cheaper ones, which they'll do the job, but then the actual build quality, they won't feel as solid, in my opinion, as the Logitech ones. And there's a whole range depending on your budget. So it's worthwhile going into a store, PC World of Currys, having a look at the actual keyboard, mouse, feeling it, touching it, then going to the websites and purchasing it online. So, or you can, there's a really cool, the really slick one is the Apple keyboard and Apple Magic Mouse, just fantastic devices. You can use them on PCs as well because they're Bluetooth.
There's many replicas of that as well.
Yeah, we don't want to go for the real deal. And moving on to the final question. Hi, need a new graphic card for my PC. What's good out there for £150, £150, and what spec should I look for? Graphics cards, it's you can spend a lot of money on these graphics cards, and they are very complex devices. A couple of things you've got to ask yourself: what type of games are you going to play?
Yeah.
What applications are you going to run? What's your budget? Well, the budget is £150. What's your monitor's resolution? And what kind of connections are you going to be using? HDMI or DVI, mini DVI, VGA? Probably not. VGA is old now. You want to start using digital stuff.
True.
So on that budget, the one I've seen is MSI HD 7850 1GB. Comes in at about £140. Got some really, really good reviews. It's giving some great performance and a very competitive price. So what the reviewers did was they compared this 1GB model of the HD 7850 with many 2GB models and more expensive cards, and this came with trumps. Great performance, it surprised everyone, and it's a very competitive price. So that's the MSI HD 7850 1GB. Yeah, an all-rounder. It's had some really good reviews. So, if I was looking for one, I would buy that one.
There you have it. There's the one.
But as I'm not looking for one, I won't buy it.
But you can recommend it.
I can recommend it, yes.
There you go. That was the final and last question. We've only got like 3 to 4 minutes.
4 minutes for the S4. That's all you need.
Oh, this is so exciting. So much preparation. You know what I'll do? I'll cover off some bit of it now, and then I'll do a small little recording afterwards, which I'll add on to the
Sounds good.
Upload. So first of all, I'll just give a test review on the battery with all gestures on, full brightness, all sort of connections on as well, Wi-Fi and GPS, Bluetooth, everything running, full blast, but in standby. So not actually using the handset. 86% on battery with 10 hours and 6 minutes.
Wow.
So only 86%. Only a bit of that was used with full gestures on, full brightness, in standby mode. Then using it for 6 hours continuously, from that 86%, it went down to 13% charge. And this is heavy usage. This is actually making playing videos, playing games on there, doing all sorts of things. And it went down. It drained the complete battery out by 21 hours. With heavy usage of 6 hours and 10 hours of standby. So not too bad. Not too bad. It's fairly it's fairly better than the S3. What would you say about it against the HTC One from your usage?
I think the actual display, the striking thing is the actual display is very, very bright compared to the HTC One.
We were looking at the battery with the G.
Yeah, so no, I'm moving on to the battery. I think taking that into consideration, it's a phenomenal feat of engineering because the power to actually feed that display implies you've got to have a very kind of a sophisticated device to power that.
Definitely.
So the battery on the HTC, I can get a heavy usage a day and a half, but maybe even 2 days, then it gets flat, which is a lot better than the iPhone. iPhone's miserable with that. So I think the Samsung, it seems to be more powerful battery.
Yeah, I mean, battery size hasn't increased much, but overall it's lasting a lot longer. The other thing I saw, which comparing it to the S3, which I was heavily comparing it to, the speaker is 80% more louder, I would say, on the S4 compared to the S3. Comparing to the S3. The LED indicator, it might be seen as a small thing, though I thought the S3 indicator is actually more brighter and bigger compared to the S4, which has been just cramped in there because they've increased the screen size, though they've the actual form factor has not changed much from the S3. So the LED lights gone a little bit dimmer and smaller on that side. Overall, holding the actual handset, it feels better when you're holding it than the S3. Do you want to hold it?
Yeah, let me hold it. Let me hold it again.
Hold it. It does feel completely light. It doesn't feel the worth of the price tag you might be paying for it. That's the downside on it, I guess. There's plenty of features and gestures as well. There's accessories which I'm gonna cover off in a separate recording now, obviously, because the show itself is coming to an end. In comparison to the HTC, one standout feature of the HTC One was, and I don't know if you knew about this, the membrane technology for the microphones. I was looking into this, and the early batch of the HTCs had this technology. When you record stuff into it, it was like you can record in concerts and it'd be crisp.
And that was early license for Nokia, apparently.
Yes.
And Nokia filed a suit.
Yes, they filed a suit and they've won as well. So the next batch of HTC One, which I'm trying to get confirmed from a HTC official when that's going to be, is going to be with the new technology of the microphone, which is not going to be the membrane technology anymore. So that means obviously there's not going to be that sort of quality possibly in the HTC. But the ones which initially came out,
mine,
recording, yours, do sound superbly better. Great for people who do like us radio recordings, and great for studios, great for live recordings as well of events or anything like that. It's very, very clear, and I've listened to some tests as well. It's much better on the HTC than the S4. Other things, of course, you can look at is the external storages of the S4, where you've got the micro SD option, where you haven't actually got that on the HTC. There's plenty of other things, but what we're going to do is go to the Azan for Maghrib, and we're going to sign up from today's show, Brother Ghufran. And I'll have to finish this off on YouTube, inshallah.
I must thank you to Brother Wasim for calling in, and I think that issue with the email, it's not specific to the phone.
Yeah.
It's the actual the operating system, the Android. I'm trying the same thing on my my HTC, and it's got the same settings. So it's an Android thing.
Yeah, I'm sure we can look at a workaround for that, and we'll get back to you, inshallah, on the following show. So keep listening and do tune in next week. That's it for today's show. So we'll be back next week, inshallah, from 8:30 till 9.
Inshallah.
With the Tech Clinic. So that's Assalamu alaikum from me, Yasar, and Assalamu alaikum from...
Wa alaikum assalam from Yasar, and Assalamu alaikum from Ghufran.
Yes.
Wa alaikum assalam from Ghufran, and Assalamu alaikum from Yasar. Wa alaikum assalam from Ghufran, and wa alaikum assalam from Yasar.
We better end it before we get... stuff thrown at us.
I think it's a radiation in all these gadgets.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.